The value of some long thing I'm not going to say out is how many times the value of 2 raised to the negative 17th power. So let's get this written out first and foremost. 2 to the negative 14 plus 2 to the negative 15 plus 2 to the negative 16 plus 2 to the negative 17 all over 5 is equal to how many times? We'll say x times the value of 2 to the negative 17. Okay. The key is going the efficient direction with it. And since what we're trying to do is to isolate x and learn how many times we need to multiply this by something in order to get this, I would argue the best way to approach it is to start by working to isolate x. When you're adding together a bunch of exponents, there's not much you can do. Exponents are shorthand for a multiplication, and so 2 to the negative 14 plus 2 to the negative 15, I don't have a way of combining those. I'm going to need to rewrite this in a different form. If I'm going to rewrite these and I want to sort of factor something out of this, you think, well, maybe I need to factor the smallest thing that can come out of all of them, like 2 to the negative 14, because, you know, everything here is negative 14 or more. The cool thing about exponents is I can factor whatever I want out of it, because exponents can be positive or negative. Let's take an example. If I have 2 to the 5th plus 2 to the 11th, right? I could factor out a 2 to the 5th, but I could also factor out a 2 to the 11th, because 2 to the 11th times 2 to the negative 6th will get me this, and plus 1. I'm not saying that's what I do in this context, but I'm just pointing out I've got that option. I don't have to say 2 to the 5th times 1 plus 2 to the 6th. In this case, I probably would, though, because 2 to the negative 6 seems more annoying than 2 to the 6th. Up above, it's the opposite. I want to get all non-fractions. And right now, negative exponents are the same thing as fractions, right? 2 to the negative 14th means 1 over 2 to the 14th. So if I could pull a 2 to the negative 17th out of all of them, not only would it get rid of all my negative fractions, but also that's the thing I'm looking to reduce by to get rid of that, to isolate that x. So if I pull a 2 to the negative 17th out of this, I'm saying, what do I need to multiply that by to get this? Well, 2 to the 3rd. Plus, here, 2 squared, plus here, just plain old 2, plus here, just 1. And so all that times 2 to the negative 17th, all over 5, is what's going to equal x times 2 to the negative 17th. Okay, well now it's pretty easy to divide both sides by 2 to the negative 17th, and I've isolated x. All I need to do is reduce this. 2 to the 3rd, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, plus 2 squared, or 4, plus 2, plus 1. 8, 12, 14, 15. So this all reduces to 15 over 5, which is 3, which is x, which is our answer, C. That's all the math we need to do here. A lot of exponents work like this. There's a few principles you want to think about with exponents. The first one is, as usual, equalize your bases. And here, all our bases were already written in the form of 2, basically, so we didn't have to change that much. It was really just about dealing with the converting addition to multiplication. And this has to do with it. You always want to convert addition to multiplication when you're trying to simplify, because trying to figure out how this 2 to the 17th relates to each individual term is not tenable. But if we pull out, if we factor out, then we have a multiplication on the left side of the equation by 2 to the 17, and we can divide and cancel that. We can remove both of those at once. Prioritize integers. If you can deal with plain old integers rather than fractions, all the better, which is another way of saying positive exponents, right, versus negative. We want positive exponents because those are going to be integers rather than fractions. And then that's about it. That's all this problem involves.
Rather than talk to you about TestCrackers, I thought I'd let our students tell you a little bit about it themselves.
I didn't know anything about the GMAT going in. I guess the fear was that like I wouldn't know how to do any of the subject matter.
I'm someone who, taking a test, I get very anxious, my palms get sweaty.
I used a lot of different online resources. I took Veritas Prep.
I tried to study on my own and it did not go well.
I took Kaplan, I took Manhattan Prep.
I wasn't getting the score that I needed in order to get accepted to my target school.
So I went on Yelp and I found TestCrackers.
And TestCrackers had the most reviews, first of all, out of any class I found. And they were pretty much all 5 stars, so I knew it had to be pretty good.
In comparison to other courses I've taken, I really felt like it was a very supportive environment for learning the questions. You felt like everyone was in it together, everyone was trying to get to their best score. It didn't feel like you were competing against one another or other people were smarter than you.
I understood at a deep level like what my weaknesses were because I could see someone who was actually strong at that and like how they approached it.
What I really appreciated about TestCrackers coming in was how approachable the instructors made it. Each of them was super excited about the inherent nature of the content, and that level of enthusiasm really just pervaded throughout the class and made you want to be excited to do the coursework as well.
One thing I learned a lot in this class that I didn't expect to learn was the strategic aspect of the GMAT.
Before I took the course, I did not have an approach to timing whatsoever.
It really enabled me to attack each problem, move past the questions I knew I couldn't answer, and get a higher percentage of questions right just because the questions I was answering, I knew I was answering correctly.
My course instructor understood the material really well, but he also had the ability to break down these really complex problems in easy to follow steps that helped me understand the material a lot better.
My GMAT quantitative instructor was hilarious. He brought the questions to life in terms of the content and made you feel excited to be learning about math problems every session.
On sentence correction, I was using my ear. I know that's like the worst thing you could ever do when you take a test like that. But then afterwards, when I read a sentence, I was able to go through them in my head and seeing which rules were being broken.
The snacks are amazing. Definitely put me over the top in my TestCrackers experience.
I took a practice exam right before the course started and I got a 620. At the end of the GMAT, the score came up on the screen, I got a 770.
After TestCrackers, I was able to bump my score by 80 points and get my dream score of a 710, which allowed me to apply and get into my dream school of MIT Sloan School of Management, which is where I'll be attending this fall.
With the help of TestCrackers, I was able to get the target score that I wanted, apply in the round that I wanted, and I've since been accepted to Kellogg, Tuck, and waitlisted at Stanford.
I'm happy to say that today I'm a student at Haas and I accomplished my goal.
Having the TestCrackers experience is what got me to the score that I wanted.
If you're going to take the GMAT, you should take this course.